Remember staying up all night, talking on the phone. Remember skipping class with your homeboys.
Yeah.
Remember G.I.
Hey yo, I wrote the shit up all day. A long stay in the hallway. Harking back to an era of the tape play. Hitting on the track well, on a max cell. With the spitting, the beginning of a rap tale. Elastic scoop from Luke shine vividly. In due time, produce rhyme synergy. And for the longest, caught the blinking of the torment. Till inkling of performance, still thinking of his dormant. And so it be, who hold close and kept dear. Were left there, won't know folks by next year. For ties cut, invest shares. Perplex peers, rise up, reflect fear. For hex sneers, the rest cheer. Know we did it for a purpose. Poem of a kid who never did scratch surface. Until we own it, respect the craft for proponents. Cause it ain't over till the song.
Remember what? You really had a song you liked, and you felt like it was about your life. Remember when you would write a letter to your girlfriend, and she would read it to all of her girlfriends. Remember staying up all night, talking on the phone. Remember skipping class with your homeboys. Remember G.I. Joe.
I used to play Mortal Kombat with Matthew. I swore he used to cheat. I swear I could never beat him. Those sandwich jawbreakers, I swear I could never eat him. Baddest chick in the school, I swear I could never meet her. Until I wrote a letter telling her I'm a singer. Me and Terrence would draw pictures of sneakers. Me and Ashley used to be in the class singing. I wrote my first rap in the back of the class thinking, I'm feeling it, yeah. Feel alive, did you get feeling alive? If you feel it, raise your L in the sky. I remember selling my mixtape in high school. They was really kinda supportive at my school. I was selling cassette tapes for $5. I was making my own beats, I was beatboxing.
Brown, brown sugar, that brown, brown, hey. 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 Brown, brown sugar, that brown, brown, hey.
Fanfare starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? On a Thursday evening. Sorry I had to go a little bit late tonight. Had a couple things I need to take care of. Actually, we got stuck in editing. A lot of editing for additional content. As I've mentioned many a times here, changing up the content, what you're going to be seeing moving forward is completely different. So let me just touch on that for a second. I seem to have some people continually upset. I see them constantly in my comments saying some crazy stuff. And one of the things I keep hearing people say is that I'm trying to build some sort of narrative where when I'm talking about Miami Dolphins stuff, it's a narrative. I'm trying to construct a story. I'm trying to make things fit where I want them to fit, which couldn't be further from the truth. So I posted this earlier, and it's like, a narrative. A narrative is a spoken or written account of connected events, a story. That's all a narrative is. It's a story. And so people are saying, well, you're trying to, make things into your story. I have a bit of a news flash. Just amazing a bit of a news flash. I'm giving you my opinion. I'm going to give you my opinion, my take on something. And so it's not a matter of something being a narrative. It's what I truly feel. I'm not making something up. You may not like it, but that's how I truly feel. And that's all I wanted to say today. Things have been going extremely well as I begin my forage into this and try to figure out which way I'm going to go, which content I'm going to talk about. There actually was some people who were ticked off because I was talking about, Rich Eisen yesterday and anti-Semitism. Get over it. Don't tune in. Can't help you. I am really going to be broadening things out. And tomorrow, which is Friday, I'll just let you know in advance. I'm going to be talking about the Lady Ballers movie in the last segment. So just understand, I'm just like Stephen A., just like Rich Eisen, just like Marcellus Wiley. We're all doing the same thing. Sports is merely a microcosm of life. It's merely a small part of this thing called life, as Prince once so eloquently said. Dearly beloved, we're here to celebrate this thing called life. And life is just sports is just a portion of actual life. I have a varied interest. I have a wife that I'm interested in. I'm interested in her interest. And sports is like this much. Just about that part. Doesn't control my life. As that person said yesterday, Barry, you're not a real fan. You don't bleed aqua and green. Yeah, you're right. I don't bleed aqua and green. Never have, never will. I don't bleed blue and gold. I have fun. I have opinion. I have always spoken my mind, whether people like it or not. Sometimes they agree. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they feel enlightened. Sometimes they feel dumbed down. But in any event, you're going to get what, if you tune in here, you're going to get what I think. It's the only way I know how to do it. Can't BS you. Can't try to explain to you to take what I say as your opinion. I'm just going to tell you what I think. From there, you can figure out your way and how you'd like to think as well. In any event, good evening. So let me just jump into it with that quick little explanation. I got a couple things from last night that I'm going to revisit. But before I revisit last night, I want to give a big giant, oh, switch, he didn't switch. Hit it again. There it is. A big giant heads up and congratulations to Austin Jackson. Austin Jackson got the money. He got paid. He's been rewarded for a job well done. Anytime a player gets recognized in that capacity, to me, I don't care about Pro Bowl, as I've told you. That's BS. I don't care about all the other stuff. I care about wins. I care about Super Bowls, trophies, hardware. And of course, I care about what's most important is cha-ching, money, getting paid, getting paid, getting his money. Austin Jackson got his money. It says rumors, or not rumor, but reports are that he got a 3-year, $36 million contract to keep him in Miami for another 3 years. The max value on the contract is $39 million, and he got $20.7 million guaranteed. You go, boy. To me, it doesn't matter what happens the rest of the season. Do your job, but you got paid. On the heels of a career year protecting Tua Tagovailoa's blindside, Jackson gets paid. That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. And what was even more awesome was today, Tua spoke about Austin Jackson getting paid. And he basically said he understands where he came from. He understands the journey he's had to become a better player this year. And he understands the journey that he had to navigate with Brian Flores as the head coach. Tua alluded to the fact that basically Brian Flores beat down Austin Jackson the same way he beat down Tua. I wasn't there. I don't know who was there. But the stories that come out about Brian Flores makes you wonder how he gets a coaching job anywhere. But he is coaching. He's with the Minnesota Vikings right now. There's rumors that he could get another head coaching job. He's one of those hard-nosed Bill Belichick disciples who just feels things have to be done a certain way. He's not Mike McDaniel. He's not the guy who's going to coddle you. He expects you to show up, do your damn job, do the job you're getting paid for. I don't need to be a social worker. I don't need to be a psychotherapist. I'm a football coach. I expect you to perform. Be here, be ready. Mike McDaniel has a completely different approach. He wants to hug it up. He wants all the guys to feel like they're part of something. Obviously, it's working. Can't knock him for that. Obviously, it's working, but I just saw so much today out there. So much out there. So much vehemence. So much, people use the word hate. towards Brian Flores today. It was all over X, calling Brian Flores X and Y and Z and every other name you could think of about how bad of a person Brian Flores was. I don't know the guy. Never met him. Never really heard him speak too much. Saw him on a couple episodes of I Am Athlete. Saw him sit next to Omar Kelly. Omar Kelly, you didn't say the things that you said today in Brian Flores' face. You're saying it online now, but you didn't say right to his face, hey, why are you doing this? I don't know. I don't know. I don't hear that kind of talk coming out of the other camps where he's been. Don't hear it in Minnesota. Didn't hear it from the players in Pittsburgh when he was, basically Mike Tomlin brought him in as a security blanket. Gave him a quick job. Hey, man, we'll take care of you. We'll get you back in the league after Miami fired you. I didn't hear that kind of talk anywhere else. I mean, I've been looking for it. You guys may have seen it, and let me know. But I didn't see anyone on Pittsburgh say this guy is a tyrant. I didn't see anybody in Minnesota say this guy is a tyrant. The only people I've heard that have said that Brian Flores is a tyrant are a couple individuals with the Miami Dolphins. Maybe more people know. I don't know. I had done a couple of videos, but my video was completely slanted. My video was completely tainted towards, what we call a narrative. It was a story. I made a story about how Tua Tagovailoa said he didn't feel comfortable in that how he felt Brian Flores was treating him. Is it true? I don't know. I don't know if it's true or if it's not. But the fact of the matter is, as we said, it hasn't been heard anywhere else. And just congratulations to Austin Jackson for basically getting paid. That to me is the biggest measurement. I don't care about the other accolades other than a ring. But he got paid, so the team must feel very strongly about him. $20 million guaranteed. For an offensive lineman, that ain't bad. That ain't bad for an offensive lineman. It's not quarterback money. It's not wide receiver money. But for an offensive tackle, that's some good jack. So I applaud him for that. And let's put this whole Brian. I don't even know why we need to talk about Brian Flores anymore. He's not with the Miami Dolphins. Put it in the rearview mirror, grow up, be men, and move on. Obviously, Austin Jackson has. Obviously, Tua has. I think the rest of us should as well. So the next thing I want to talk about, and this is probably going to tick some people off as well. Yesterday, I talked about Louis Riddick and possibly him auditioning for the role of general manager should things go south, just in case, and letting Stephen Ross know, I'm here, man. I'm here. I could be your next guy. And then, of course, people were like, no way he'd get rid of Chris Greer. There's no way he would let Chris Greer go. He's put together a great team. There's a reason that I'm thinking that Louis Riddick is indeed auditioning. I want to show you something. So, this was a tweet, X post, whatever you want to call it, that he made today. And in this post here, he says, he's talking about to his big 70, is this the 70? This is the 60-yard touchdown. This is a 60-yard touchdown that Tua threw. You guys know this is the one where I made the video saying Tyreek left early. I'm not going to go into that. But I want you to see what he says here. He says, I can't get over how the free safety is, talking about the free safety of the Washington Commanders. One, he's totally unaware of where Cheetah is aligned and doesn't adjust his pre-snap alignment to suggest that he does. Two, he never turns his head to look at Tyreek and check and see what he is doing post-snap as far as his release. Now listen to this. This number 3. Does not drive for depth, meaning doesn't get back into the middle of the field at the snap, given that it's 3rd and 6, and everyone on earth knows how fast this offense is. Number 4, this is important. He's unaffected by the fact that Tua is staring at Tyreek, quote, the entire play. He puts that in big letters, all caps. the entire play. Tua is staring down the quarterback at the entire play. And yet he doesn't adjust by starting to lean to his side post-snap. This is beyond bad, beyond. So what exactly does he mean there? What exactly is he trying to say? One, it backs up what I've been saying all along about a team being able to defend the Miami Dolphins if they have the personnel to execute. If they have the bodies on the field who can do what you're supposed to do. In this post, Louis Riddick says these guys didn't execute. Everything that a defensive back should be doing when they're facing Tyreek Hill was not done. The execution was poor. It was, quote, beyond bad. That's what I've been saying. The offense looks good, not against bad teams, as people have been saying, against bad players. Players who can't execute. The personnel who are overwhelmed by Tyreek, who can't stay with Tyreek, who can't read certain pre-snap signals. That's what I've been saying, and he says it in a tweet here. The next part, I'm just going to, you guys can read what he says, and he puts the big eyeball emojis there, and he just let everybody in the league know. Tua just stood back there and stared at Tyreek, man. He didn't even take his eyes off of him. He was going to him the whole time. Forget spot throw. He'd already decided who he was going to throw to. Narrative? Nope. We've seen it. Some people want to see it. Other people don't want to believe it. This guy was another NFL player, former pro player, who's bringing it up and saying he just stood there and stared at Tyreek the entire time. In some instance, I say, you know what? That's not bad. And here's why. I'm lining up. I'm telling you what I'm going to do. I'm not even faking it. I'm just going to look at Tyreek Hill the entire time. I'm going to look at Tyreek and I'm going to say, I'm going to throw you the ball. Okay? Okay. And I don't think you got the nuts to stop us. Maybe that's what Tua and Mike McDaniel saw was, hey man, you don't even have to worry about it. These guys ain't going to be able to defend Tyreek. Just do what we do because they're out here running around like Sandlot high school players who have no clue what they're doing. And boom, 60-yard touchdown, ball thrown one way or the other. Who knows? Tyreek said he went the wrong route, which makes it even worse for the Commanders. Understand that. One of the two guys said, hey, you were supposed to be here, but I threw it there. And the other guy goes, no, I was running here, but you threw it there, and I had to adjust. And afterwards, hey, let's hug it out. It was my fault, says Tyreek. So you guys didn't connect on the play you wanted to connect with, and they still couldn't stop you. Think about that for a second. When I say personnel has to be on the field to defend the Miami Dolphins defense, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm staring at him the whole way. Go long. I'm staring at him the whole way. I throw the ball. He doesn't go to the right spot. He adjusts and still catches the ball, and they still couldn't defend him. That, as Louis Riddick said, and you can said, this is beyond bad. That's how bad the competition was during that game. That's what I keep saying to everybody. And Louis Riddick just said it. I don't understand. It's not making light of things. Like I said, sometimes you get up against somebody, you can just look at them and go, I'm just going to tear your ass up. Maybe that's if they were that confident. You know, they're running around the field. But as I've been saying, as this team moves forward into those 3 games coming up and then in the playoffs elsewhere, you're not going to face that kind of, quote, beyond bad competition. It's not going to be there. It's just simply not going to be there. You're just not going to have your way with top-level competition every single week. So if you get used to playing beyond bad players, if you get used to players that can't do anything, even if Tyreek and Tua miscommunicate, you're going to run into a problem when you face the guys who do execute. That has been my story basically the entire season. People think I'm being negative. Not being negative. I'm just showing you. Other people are seeing it. They're saying it in a different way. Hey, man, this guy was beyond bad. He absolutely sucked. How do you read into this? How do you read as you're sitting here right now? How do you read that and say, wow, they're playing against some top-notch guys, when I've never seen someone use those kind of words? This guy's just terrible. He's beyond bad. It's like me covering Tyreek. Wouldn't have done any worse. That's for sure. Wouldn't have done any worse. My big ass out there would have got dusted the same way this guy got dusted. And you're a professional safety. That's all I'm talking about. It's not a narrative. We all see it. Every single one of us who knows what we're looking at, we can see it. I try to show it to you. People get pissed off. Barry, why are you saying this? I'm like, he's saying it too. It's right there in front of you. And if more people are pointing things out, and like, what's his name? Emmanuel Acho was talking today, and he's like, you can't separate the two of them. People are talking about Tyreek being the MVP or Tua being the MVP, and he's like, Tua's good because of Tyreek. Tyreek's good because of Tua. You can't separate that. That is true. They are basically codependent. Whenever you're getting 44% of a quarterback's attention, his yards, you are now tied at the hip. You are now 100% codependent, and it's successful as hell. It is potentially breaking records. It's causing wins, but you're playing against personnel that can't defend it. That's the biggest thing. When you're playing against people, I mean, I know if I was blocking some guy who couldn't play against me, I'm just going to put his you-know-what in the dirt. Don't even have to use much skill. I'm stronger than him and just bowl him over. Tyreek is running roughshod around these people, and when I bring it up and say, hey, the competition sucks, people get pissed off. Louis Riddick just brought it up again. Now, I mentioned Louis Riddick again for a reason. The reason why I bring up Louis Riddick is, and I mentioned yesterday, is he auditioning for the general manager spot of the Miami Dolphins? Because something happened today that really made me take a look. So just want to show you something. This is Louis Riddick's actual page, his Twitter profile. Shows him from the University of Pittsburgh, graduate, doesn't mention, I guess that's him playing at Pitt, whatever. And then today, I want to just show you this. Boom. December 4th, he reposted it. He posted it yesterday, he reposted it today, that Austin Jackson, the guy is trying to punish people in the run game every damn play. He's applauding Louis Riddick. Tweet earlier today. Did I just not single this man out yesterday on TV as a reason why this Dolphins team is going to be dangerous? He retweets the story about Austin Jackson's contract. Then he comes back down here. He talks about the Dolphins again. Then, let's see here. And he's talking about Tua's no-look game. Then he's talking about Christian Wilkins. Do you see this? Do you see a ESPN analyst who is talking about nothing but the Miami Dolphins? Nothing. Not a single other story in his last 5, 6, 10 tweets. Here's another one. These are all in chronological order. Talking about the safety we just talked about. Advertisement. And then he's talking about Omar Kelly. And Omar Kelly talking about the Dolphins. And that's, okay, that brings us back to December 4th again. So he has been focusing specifically on the Dolphins over and over and over again. Why would an ESPN analyst dedicate their entire day to talking about nothing but the Miami Dolphins? especially after going on television on Stephen A's show, First Take, and doing what he said yesterday. He followed up that appearance on Stephen A's First Take. He followed up everything he said about the Dolphins are going to go to the Super Bowl. And he followed it up today with doing nothing but tweeting about the Miami Dolphins. If that's not auditioning for a job, I don't know what is. He didn't talk about any other game. Tonight, I want to get you guys out of here because you got to watch that wonderful game between the Steelers and the Patriots. Whew, that's going to be nice. Didn't mention it. He's an ESPN analyst. Didn't mention it. Didn't mention Brock Purdy. Didn't mention Trevor Lawrence's ankle being hurt. Didn't mention what we're going to talk about in a second, Sean McDermott. Didn't mention any of that. All he talked about was the Miami Dolphins. So you can say Barry's creating a narrative, or you can just wonder to yourself, isn't it odd that an ESPN analyst would do nothing but talk about the Miami Dolphins the entire day for the second day in a row? Went on a national television program, said what he said yesterday about the Dolphins, today followed it up with nothing but glorified tweets for the Miami Dolphins. Didn't say anything negative, anything critical. It was all applause for the Miami Dolphins. To me, I consider myself having somewhat of an intelligent brain. I consider myself someone who can read into some things. And if that doesn't just make you think, just that much, maybe you don't think he's auditioning for the job, but you gotta be somewhat thinking, why is he doing this? For what reason would he be pushing so much for the Miami Dolphins? Then you can come up to your own conclusions. So let me take a few comments here after I've said that. Daniel says he's not watching the Pats. Did it not come through? Wait a minute. Come on. Click here. Oh, there it is. I don't think I want to watch the Pats game. All year has been boring. Bailey Zappi, I believe, is going to be quarterbacking tonight. Mac Jones is on the bench. I'm not sure if Kenny Pickett's playing. And, Pittsburgh has to win to keep their playoff hopes alive. They've got to keep going. Even if they have to put Mitch Trubisky in, I still think they'll beat up on the Patriots. Trav, he's a Dolphins fan, all right, but he's also an ESPN analyst, so he's not stupid. He knows specifically what he's doing. Frank, what's going on? Frank says AFC East isn't Miami's yet. Buffalo still has a shot if Bills went out and Dolphins dropped 2 in Week 18. Could come down to the division. Yeah, that could be. Where's our current manager going? Nowhere. I think Chris Greer is secure. Now, if I put an asterisk next to that and say for now, you've put this multi-gazillion-dollar roster together. You're applauding Austin Jackson. You're giving him the money. You're basically recognizing a draft pick gone well. You've got a quarterback that you drafted who's doing well. I think everything is good right now. But, as I said, asterisk, if the wheels fall off and they don't do well in the playoffs, I think that's where your manager is going, or at least be on the hot seat. The whole idea in professional sports is to win championships. It's not to show up and do well in a season. It's not to show up and win one playoff game and be out. Stephen Ross cut checks to bring together an amazing roster in his mind, sold to him by Chris Greer. Chris Greer goes to Stephen Ross and says, hey, I think we can win with this roster. Okay, I'm trusting you. You're my guy. Only question is, what happens if it doesn't work? Trav just wants to beat the the Bills at home. That's my mini Super Bowl. Blueprint is out there to beat the Dolphins. Yeah. And maybe that's why people get pissed at me, because I just pointed out. But everybody's pointing it out. Every single person who has any sort of platform that's not in the tank Miami Dolphins person is saying, hey, man, there's something here. These guys can't execute. They can't stop it. They suck. As Lewis said, they're beyond bad. But there is a blueprint. Doesn't mean people can do it. I mean, you could hand me a recipe step by step for making a souffle, and you'd basically end up in an hour, you'd have an omelet, a soggy omelet, because I can't cook, I can't execute. Even if I know what to do, if my wife said, here is the recipe for your souffle. Go ahead and make this and call me when it's done. So how long am I supposed to stir the eggs? How many eggs go in it? How much cream? No, it's all right there. Just follow it. I think some of you guys would say the same thing. You can hand somebody a recipe. Unless they have the skill to execute, they're not going to get it done. You're going to be eating a soggy, flat omelet. And that's what would happen if I tried to make a souffle or quiche even. Can't do it. If you can execute better than I can. So the blueprint is most assuredly out there how to beat the Dolphins. You just got to be able to execute. Sorry, not buying it. The coach manager, get the players. I think Greer is super safe. All right, I'm not asking you to buy it. You know, we had some comments, Pablo, over the last couple of days. I'm not asking you to buy it. Like I said when I started tonight, I'm giving you my opinion. I'm giving you an opinion. I'm trying to back it up with some of the things I've been seeing beyond the fact of just not buying it, don't want to even think about it. I do know business. I do know the football business. I know Stephen Ross wrote some big damn checks. And I know this is a performance-based business, not your feels. And don't come to me about how you feel and how you think. This is a business. You know, going back to the North Dallas 40 movie. Every time I call it a game, you call it a business. Every time I call it a business, you call it a game. But this is a business. Big, billion-dollar business. And you're judged, the players are judged based on what they do on the field. General managers are based upon performance of the team. So you don't have to buy what I'm selling, because I'm not selling anything. I'm just saying if they don't perform after spending a gazillion dollars to put this roster together, somebody at the end of the season is going to have to answer some questions. Frank, they're going to come for you when you say this. I think Ravens, Dallas, and Bills beat the Dolphins. Man. Oh, yeah, they're going to come for you. They're going to come for you. Let's see what we got here. McDaniel is too smart for that. And this is the other thing where I got in trouble, is because I haven't seen it yet. You haven't seen it yet. Well, actually, you have seen it. Let me address that. If he's too smart for it, why did Tyreek get shut down against the Bills, the Eagles, and the Chiefs? 3 times. If he can get around that personnel challenge where the other guys are as good or better than the offense he's running, we saw that the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Eagles, they shut Tyreek down, turned it off. What did Mike do to basically change things up and adjust? Did all of a sudden Tyreek go from 60 yards to 200 against the Eagles? Nope. What was the adjustment? You've seen it thus far, so it's coming again. So if he didn't change it in those 3 games, what is he going to change in these 3 games? How many games has you're talking about the guy who took over for Dorsey? Maybe this might be going into his 3rd game this week. Frank, how you doing, brother? Thank you for understanding. That's what I'm trying to do. Just talk truth and give you guys something to think about. Most people are just going to go, yeah, it's working. I'm like, just think about it. If he could have stopped or gotten around good personnel, why didn't it happen in those 3 games? You can't possibly have an answer, because it's true. They shut him down. The other teams couldn't perform. Tyreek and Tua destroyed him. Just went crazy on him. Look at the common denominator for those 3 games that they lost, because that's going to be the common denominator, or at least what they're going to try to do in the 3 games coming up. Tomorrow, this Monday, and the Jets, who knows what the Jets are going to do. But those 3 games at the end of the season are going to follow the same recipe as those 3 losses. So I would love to see what he does different. selective chat talk. Good luck with. I don't know what that means. Don't have any idea. Hey, John, how are you doing? John says, if McDaniels is too smart, why is 3rd and 2 a pass play always? Oh, yeah. You found, I think they're going to change that, right? You just paid a guy $20 million guaranteed, so he must be able to get 1 or 2 yards if you hand off to him. Raheem or Achane should be able to get 1 or 2 yards, I would think, shouldn't they? Maybe. Let's see what they do. All right, so we talked about the Jets and their dumpster fire and how bad they were, and whatever they're doing with Mr. Zach Wilson, and I don't even know. So the very next day after the entire Zach Wilson debacle, then we have this crap with, what's his name? Sean McDermott for the Buffalo. I mean, is the AFC East just imploding except for Miami? It seems like Miami has their shit together. You got a coach that's keeping these guys under wraps. Chris Greer, thus far, as we said, has been doing well. He's been keeping these guys in place other than the time where Tyreek slapped the guy upside the head. Other than that, isn't that basically the only incident? I mean, that and Xavier Howard not keeping his thing in his pants. But those are the only 2 incidents that I can recall that have been basically scandalous for the Miami Dolphins. And they pale in comparison to what Sean McDermott did. So if you guys didn't understand what Sean McDermott did, even though it was a couple years ago, it happened to surface just today and yesterday. Somebody dug in and found this. So what did Sean McDermott do? Sean McDermott gave a pep talk to motivate the team and basically said, you guys should be a lot more like the 9/11 hijackers. He actually said that, and I'm going to let you see what he actually said. This is friggin' incredible. All right. Here's the instance reported on what Bills head coach Sean McDermott said. St. John Fisher College in Pittsford, New York, McDermott's morning address began innocently enough. He told the entire team they needed to come together. Let's bond. Let's communicate better. Let's become better players. But then he used a strange model, the terrorist of September 11th. He said he cited the hijackers as a group of people who were all able to get on the same page to orchestrate attacks to perfection. Could you imagine sitting in that room going, dude, did you seriously just say what I think I heard you just say? One by one, McDermott started asking specific players in the room questions. What tactics do you think they used to come together other than flying into buildings? A young player tried to methodically answer, what do you think their biggest obstacle was? A veteran answered TSA, which mercifully lightened the mood. And then from there, this shitstorm erupted. Sean McDermott in Buffalo, which is, as you know, in the state of New York, where the towers were in New York, has a team meeting and says, you guys need to be as good as the 9/11 terrorists. No words. I mean, maybe you can say you understand what he meant. Maybe I can say, okay, he was saying they did something with great precision and coordinating, and they got a lot of luck happened to make sure all those things all happened and came together. But come on, man. That's like people saying, you know what? And I've actually heard people say this. If it weren't for how many people he killed, Hitler was a great mastermind of strategy. I'm like, hey, man, hey, that might not be something you want to say in public. Want to not take that onto a stage and say anything about Hitler? Ixnay with the Hitler. And McDermott goes, yeah, so these 9/11 terrorists, they were awesome how they worked together and they communicated. And one guy said, you drive that plane into that building. And the other guy goes, oh, I go to Pentagon. I'm sorry if I'm offending people. I'm just having fun because I cannot believe an NFL coach would say something so stupid. So insanely stupid. And then I look at the media and go, wait a minute. Wait. This happened in 2019. So it's taken 4 years for this to come out. This story here on ESPN. And it's, what's the title? Bills coach Sean McDermott apologizes for 9/11 remarks in 2019. Hey, ESPN, I'm pretty sure you guys were around in 2019. You're telling me in 4 years, almost 5 years, nobody, not a single reporter knew about this story? And now you're breaking it? It says Buffalo Bills coach Sean McDermott said Thursday he regretted mentioning 9/11 in a 2019 training camp talk with his team and he immediately apologized to his players. McDermott emphasized Thursday that he made the comments, that being today, to discuss the importance of communication and being on the same page. He said he regretted mentioning 9/11 in my message that day, and I immediately apologized to the team. Not only was 9/11 a horrific event, in our country's history, but a day I lost a good family friend. You should have known better, dude. Jeez. McDermott told players in a speech to model coming together in a manner similar to the terrorists of 9/11, asking players in the room questions about how the attacks were executed and referencing the hijackers getting on the same page. Multiple players who were there at the time confirmed the story to ESPN, while others who were on the team at the time told ESPN they didn't recall it. When asked why he mentioned 9/11, whether hijackers were specifically referenced as an example of a group coming together, McDermott said it was mentioning 9/11 in the context of a team meeting. Well, remember yesterday with all that stuff in the hearings from MIT, Penn, and Harvard, it's all about context. You have to understand context. The goal of the team meeting was the importance of communication and being on the same page as a team. So you don't understand my context. My context was, we're trying to get these guys in training camp to communicate and be aligned and get on the same page. And the only reference that could come to my mind was the precision in which these guys flew planes into towers. Dude, did you really say that? Did you really think that would fly? And I guess it did. But Bills have been playing. He's been the head coach. He's had no problems. Things are going well. And almost 5 years later, 4.5, it comes out. It gets revealed. You always have to wonder why these things get revealed at this point. Understand this. The Bills are 6-6? Mm-hmm. They've already fired their offensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. What do you think might happen to Sean McDermott if they don't make the playoffs? If they crap out? Is this just something to set the table? Is this something where they can go, hey, listen, Sean, it's been a few years. You haven't done well. And then you had to fire your offensive coordinator. And then you're talking about 9/11 hijackers in New York. We don't think you're the guy we need moving forward. So, sorry, you got to get out. Again, opinion. There's a reason why this story sat dormant for 4 years. It's like, put the bullets in the gun. Don't fire them until you have to. Let's begin setting the table. You're 6-6. You got big games. Basically, you have to run the table to keep your job. You got to run the table, come back here, and show us you deserve to be here. I would almost say that this is setting the table for Sean McDermott's exit. You tried to scapegoat Ken Dorsey, and he made him leave, and now it's all on you, but you and your 9/11 motivational talks going to have to run the table or you're probably going to be gone. I would almost say for certain he's gone. What do you guys think? You guys think that Sean McDermott's going to have a job if they don't beat? Oh, I can tell you this. If the Dolphins stomp him, the Dolphins come back and beat the Bills pretty bad, he might not last that weekend. There'd be no reason to continue. Might as well just go ahead and get rid of him right then and there. I wouldn't keep him. Why would you keep him? you're basically over it. You're not going to make the playoffs. Let's look at something here. Let me look at. I haven't even looked at where they are. I know they're like 3 games behind the Dolphins, but let's look at something here together. All right, so this is the Buffalo Bills' remaining schedule. Their remaining schedule starting this weekend is Kansas City, Dallas. If they end up 6-8, he may not make it past that Dallas game. I'm telling you right now, they lose those 2 games. They lose Kansas City and Dallas. I think Sean McDermott's on a plane to wherever he needs to go and just get the hell out of Buffalo. If they lose these 2 games, Miami absolutely cinches the AFC East. There's no chance of him coming back. These 3 games are meaningless to him, to the Buffalo Bills and Terry Pagula, the owner. Why would you keep him? Why would you keep Sean McDermott if they're out in 2 weeks? That's what I'm thinking. Let me know what you guys think here. Sean McDermott, you're always going to read these guys are safe. Same thing with, yeah, he's safe. There's no big deal. Until you start, you can't not make the playoffs. The team's already been falling apart. We know what's his name? The wide receiver. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. Stephon Diggs. They almost blew up last year. His brother saying, "Hey man, you need to get up out of Buffalo." It could get bad. MTG says he's not going anywhere. All you guys think it's all everybody's safe, huh? Yeah, Kaka, no smoke without fire. I'm just saying, having been in advertising for quite a bit, you have to look at things and go, why would that just come out now? It's not by accident. Nothing you see in the media these days, nothing is by accident. Let me show you something. Or not show you, but probably prove it to you. In terms how the media manipulates stuff and they basically can do what they want and they're force-fed, or spoon-fed rather, information. Remember, Carissa Thompson says, I made shit up. Still got her job. Still has it. No big deal. Why? Because we all do it. Well, yeah, that's what we do. We're reporters. We report what you tell us to report. So this thing comes out about Sean McDermott, and it's not by accident whatsoever. I mean, it just can't be. It just can't be. Bills are looking better since the OC change. Yeah, again, see what happens when they play the 2 big dogs, Kansas City and Dallas, back to back. Let's see here. Bills have a run game now. Great. Fine. I didn't say he was going to get fired. I said they were setting the table should they need to fire him to be able to tell him all these things have happened on your watch. Stephon Diggs is pissed off. Josh Allen keeps throwing interceptions. You fired your offensive coordinator. You're talking about 9/11 terrorists. I think it's best if we made a change at this point. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Buffalo still scares the hell out of you. From what you've heard tonight, it should scare you even more if they get past Kansas City and Dallas. Because this team is basically holding on by their fingernails at this point. They're 6-6. They can't afford to lose any more games, never mind 2 in a row. They can't be 6-8. They are fighting for their playoff lives. That's a scrappy team at that point who has to will themselves to win. They have to do something. The Bills lose 1 game in this last stretch, and the fans will call for blood. Exactly. I have the season ticket holders, the guys jumping off things into tables, will say, hey, listen, do something. Do something. We're 6-8, 6-9 with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and that was the other one, Von Miller, beating up girls. His pregnant girlfriend or wife. I know the charges got dropped, but that came out as well. Are you seeing these dominoes being set up? That's what I'm saying. This stuff just keeps happening with Buffalo. And I don't know if you guys know, those of you who live in South Florida, but Terry Pagula is from Boca. And so he's down here with his wife, Terry. I don't forget her first name, but they're from Boca. They're here in South Florida. They probably talk to Stephen Ross. I would almost bet that they do. Does that matter? Not in if you're winning, but if you're losing. Remember, there's been a rumor that Frank Smith from the Dolphins coaching staff is rumored to be a head coach candidate. Have you heard that? That came out, I think, last week. And Frank Smith went to the podium and almost got teary-eyed and said he's been having so much fun here. But the right offer comes. What do you think Frank Smith, now we're talking. What do you think Frank Smith, who works with Mike McDaniel, who knows this offense, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, Achane/Mostert, and Tua. And he goes to Buffalo and says, wait a minute, I got Stephon Diggs, I got Gabe Davis, I got an amazing tight end and Dustin Kincaid, I believe the guy's name. I've got a decent running back with James Cook, and I've got Josh Allen. Can I just duplicate that up here? Give you something to think about. Frank Smith, who knows intricately how this Miami Dolphins offense runs, and he knows I need these types of players to make this work. I could make this work with Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. I could make this work with Kincaid, the new tight end, Dalton Kincaid. I can make this work with James Cook, mediocre back, but he could do something. And I know I can make it work with Josh Allen. Moves, chess moves in advance. You don't look at chess here and see how you win. You look at chess down there. What are the moves that are going to be made? There's a reason why Frank Smith's name is being talked about as potential head coach. Just saying. Hey John, see you early. Thanks, brother. See, cool, Barry. Hey Frank and Fred. Night, John. Everyone's saying good night to each other. So it must be time for the game. I only got through 2 stories tonight. Good gosh. Come on, what about Hill the same way? Bills have a run game too. Yeah, okay. So that's what I'm saying. Let me see if I can get through this next story real quick. It's already, I got 8 minutes before we get to the hour. But just think about that whole Buffalo Bills thing. Think about it to yourself and look at what could potentially happen. Look at the chess pieces on the board and understand the moves that are made and thought of before the other move takes place. And I think Frank Smith is going to be able to basically call his shot. People have seen what he's done with the Dolphins this year, and he's going to be able to call his shot. And when you look at what Frank Smith already knows he needs, what team out there could he plug and play? Carolina Panthers? Nope. Bryce Young ain't ready yet. They don't have the wide receivers. Nope. I'm not going to go to a 1-9 team, 1-10 team. I want to go to a team that I think I've got the pieces in place to make happen. So if I'm Frank Smith, I'm like, man, Buffalo's got it for me. All right, so let's see what else we got. I'm hoping Pitt wins to help shut the Bills out. Yeah, that would be funny. Go Pats tonight. People are Pats fans. All right, so yeah, because that spot could end up going to them. What I have. So you guys know over a couple days ago, we were talking, and I try to make these things segue so you can see how they all somehow interrelate. And we're talking about that story dropping from Sean McDermott from 4 plus years ago, about him talking about 9/11 terrorists. And I'm saying it's for a reason. Things happen in the media, and the media is completely screwed right now. You get this story. We talked about this kid from Kansas City Chiefs fan. And this Kansas City Chiefs fan has caused people to look at more intensely on journalism. And this guy from the New York Post writes, sports journalism utterly sucks. Deadspin blackface debacle proves it, along with Carissa Thompson, along with a bunch of other stuff. This is where we're going in sports media. So there's the face the guy put up. He goes, leftist ideologues are incapable of abiding by any boundaries while dictating what society is doing wrong from their soapbox. What a statement. While the average person finds using innocent people, especially children, as political pawns distasteful, it's the recipe that uniquely satisfies an ideologue's palate. Sports media's marriage to the tactics, the objectives, and language of the progressive left has led to the birth of a glutinous monster that prefers to devour any person who's out of bounds rather than on the field. Okay, so Sean McDermott gets leaked that he was talking about 9/11 terrorists 4 years later. Where's that story been? Nobody's even asking that question. Why wasn't it brought up earlier? And when its appetite isn't fulfilled, it will plant the seeds of a story to later consume when it sprouts in the public view. Sound familiar? Did I not just say that? This is exactly the sports media environment that rationalizes Deadspin using a 9-year-old Kansas City Chief fan holding Armenta as a symbol of what's wrong with our society because he wore face paint and a headdress to a football game. Deadspin senior writer Carron Phillips lambasted the 9-year-old for allegedly wearing blackface and appropriating a headdress, chastising NFL for not speaking out against the child, calling it an example of, quote, racism and hate. It takes a lot to disrespect two groups of people at once, Carron said. This is what happens when you ban books, stand against critical race theory, and try to erase centuries of hate. What Phillips didn't convey to the audience is the 9-year-old boy is himself of Native American descent, and he was wearing black and red war paint, one color covering each side of his face. Even the picture used to accompany the piece showed just one side of the boy's face, the side painted black. This out-of-bounds attempt to make an example of a 9-year-old child led the parents Shannon and Raul Armenta to hire a lawyer to demand an immediate retraction from Deadspin. You must publish your retractions and issue an apology to my clients with the same prominence and fanfare with which you defame them. There's been poison in the well of sports media for many years. A former avid consumer of sports entertainment journalism, I finally had to quit drinking from it. It poisoned the whole profession. Nearly the entire sports media industry has zero interest in discussing sports or preserving American traditions. Instead, it injects off-the-field narratives into meritocratic athletics and berates us for wanting none of the political nonsense. And he goes on in this article just to discuss the fall of sports journalism. You guys see it with the hot takes and everything else that goes on in different networks. They're not really pushing narratives. They're just pushing ideologically topical things that they want to talk about in the manner that they want to talk about. And if you go against them, they'll try and bury you. People say, why is the media so bad against Tua? Somewhere, somehow, people have created some ideology of this is what we're going to talk about this guy. I don't know why. I have no idea. But it's now permeated to the point where sports media absolutely sucks. I mean, it's you could put on one of these shows and they talk about the same thing every day, every single day, except for the stuff they don't want to talk about. The reason I started this show, because I realized there's a lane here. There's a lane to be able to talk about things that the networks won't or can't talk about. Won't because of their ideology, can't because of their advertisers. They have to be careful. Okay, will this piss off Disney? If this pisses off Disney, we can't bring this shit up. So we're just going to, let it go. Or whoever some of the executives are in the company. Go back and look how many articles and discussions. I mean, First Take is on every single day. It's repeated 2 or 3 times a day. NFL Live is on every single day. FS1, Speak, all of them, Undisputed, every single day. See if you can find this story anywhere. See if you can see them talking about this story. It's not by accident. They can't or won't. It's that simple. Somebody, their overlords have said, stay away from this. And so now you've got Carron Phillips, running completely scared and in a panic because they're probably going to name him personally in addition to Deadspin. Deadspin, if it goes the way of Gawker or the way that Nicholas Sandman, or he got that judgment for $800 million, it will bankrupt both Deadspin and Carron. And Carron's freaked out. Carron's completely freaked out. How freaked out is Carron? Well, Carron has decided at this point, and here's his Twitter profile, that he ain't blocking people. He just turned it off. I can't let y'all see my... He got so much outrage, so much of an uproar, he had to turn it off. Completely turn it off. But here's the problem with what he turned off. Here is the absolute problem. I forgot to put the link here, but I'll get to it. He's still doing it. He's learned nothing from it. And that's the problem with the hive mind. The hive mind, everybody else around me feels this way, so I must be doing something right. I must be, talking truth to power. All my friends here in New York and all my, I'm not going to say the other thing I was going to say, but all the people I hang out with all feel the same way. I don't understand how you heathens don't get it. You don't get it. You don't get that most people don't want to hear this crap. So what did he do after he protected his tweets and is not letting anybody else who see what he's doing? Now understand when he says protected his tweets, see what it says here. These posts are protected. Only approved followers can see what he's saying now. So he's only going to let you hear if you're part of the hive mind. You, me, anybody else? Nope, you can't see it. I'm going to hide behind this protected tweets here. But what's he still doing? He wrote this article today. Let me see if I can... Look at this article. The dog whistles around Jalen Hurts are subtle yet deafening. Here we go again. People are talking about Jalen Hurts not being MVP and maybe Brock Purdy's the MVP or whoever, and he's mad because pay attention who's saying what about the Philadelphia Eagles superstar and how they're saying it. It's a dog whistle. I'm not even going to read through this article. I just needed to show you. You probably wouldn't believe it. After doing all that stuff about the little boy, now he comes back and says people critiquing Jalen Hurts are doing it because they're racist. Now, everybody in the sports world who says that Jalen Hurts has been off, maybe he's hurt, maybe somebody said they should substitute Marcus Mariota for a couple games until he's back to full health. Oh no, those are dog whistles. You're just being racist. Racism is everywhere, even when you have to manufacture it. There is such a scarcity of racism, it requires guys like Carron to go ahead and make it up. If racism was everywhere, you wouldn't have to just come up with these kind of stories. You're making it up. And I think I'm a little bit qualified to say it. I'm a black man living in a Jewish neighborhood in South Florida. And it just does. Is there racism? Absolutely. There is absolutely racism. Is it prevalent? Hell no. No, it's not. I can go anywhere. I can do whatever I want. I've never been denied service at a restaurant. I've never had a taxi cab not want to pick me up. I've never had an Uber driver say, no, I can't take you. Never. Never, 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 never. Racism is so scarce, they have to make it up. And then talking about the manipulation of the media and what they'll allow to be said. Yesterday, there was a mass shooting at UNLV. Okay. Horrific. People died. Don't even hear about it anymore. Doesn't fit what they want you to know. They don't want you to know that he was a liberal white guy who was mad because he didn't get a job. It wasn't a MAGA. He wasn't, anti-transphobe, or he wasn't this. No, just a guy pissed off because he didn't get the job, supposedly. and he decides to go in and shoot up the school, and then the story goes away. It just goes away. And it tells you how manufactured things are, racism-wise, gun control-wise, because if you really truly felt that there was a serious problem with guns in this country, you wouldn't stop talking about it because the guy who just did the mass shooting wasn't the type of guy you want to be publicized. They just stopped. They literally just stopped talking about it. Every time there's something, boom, they flood. Oh, we got to do something about guns. We got to do this. We got to do that. Oh, he's plays on our side. Oh, shut up. Well, wait a minute. I thought you still felt so strongly. If you felt so strongly, why aren't you talking about it? I mean, in that regard, maybe we should give Carron here a little bit of applause. I mean, he already knows he's going down the tubes, but at least he's sticking to his guns. Everything is racist. There's no way around it. I have to manufacture it. And you guys out there, black or white, I guess, because if Stephen A. Smith talks about Jalen Hurts, if Louis Riddick talks about Jalen Hurts, what happens to the story about being dog whistles? I think Jalen Hurts is a great player. He's been hurt. They've lost. They got stomped by San Francisco. That's not dog whistle. You look at the scoreboard. Ooh, wow. They whooped your ass. That's not dog whistle. That's pure fact. So that's nuts to me. Absolutely nuts to me. He was a conspiracy guy. Oh, you know what's funny? If you just scroll through his dossier there in terms of the stuff that he's written, it just goes away. I mean, I didn't even hear about that shooting. I know it happened, I don't know, 3, 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Every news channel, every dial you flipped, they had wall-to-wall coverage, and then done. Over, done. My wife's sister lives in Las Vegas. Where it happened, she goes, they're not even talking about it out here. It's just like, hey, yeah, these people died. Okay, let's go. Let's move on. Why? So when you hear me talk about the media, and when you hear me say these things about that the media is contrived, and that they're creating things, and why Sean McDermott may be on the hot seat from a 4-year-old article. I mean, if you took stuff that I said 4 or 5 years ago, maybe you want to hold it against me without ever thinking, is he that same guy? What is a speech that he gave in 2019 indicative of the type of man he is today? That'd be my first question as a reporter. So you gave the speech in 2019. You talked about the 9/11 terrorists. Do you regret that? Oh man, I don't know what I was thinking. That was the stupidest speech I ever made. After I made it, I wished I'd never said it. Game over. But they don't do that. They don't do that. Wow, thank you very much, man. A refreshing take on football and life. Great content on a great channel. I really appreciate you guys letting me begin to broaden these topics and go with different things. And I try to make sure that I can string the stories together and show you different perspectives. And the only thing I look for, seriously, the only thing I look for is to help people think. Not believe me, not to do what I say, just think. And every time we have one of these shows, and tomorrow we'll have another one, my objective isn't to convince anybody. The fact that I bring it up sometimes pisses people off. I just want you to think. You don't get the opportunity in most media outlets where people invite you to, hey, you don't have to make a decision tonight. I'm not asking you to join me. I'm not building some sort of movement. I just would like a lot of free-thinking people who aren't in a hive to look at things and go, yeah, you know what? I'm not really sure what the hell Barry's talking about, but I saw the links. I can go click on them myself. I can look these things up. I can see if there's patterns, and I can judge for myself. I'm not asking you to be a fanboy. I'm asking you to be men and women. I'm asking you to look at things with an objective perspective and go, That takes some thinking. I might have to look at this. What did this Carron guy do? What did his other articles say? Why did he protect his tweets? Why is the media acting this way? Why are they shutting up about the mass shooting? Why are they bringing up 4-year-old training talk speeches with Sean McDermott? Why is Riddick all of a sudden the biggest fan of the Miami Dolphins? Why does this all happen? That's all I'm going to be doing on these shows, is bringing up information, bringing stories to you, bringing different things, tweets, what people say, and then I'm not trying to convince you. Is Sean McDermott in trouble, maybe getting fired? It's my opinion. You may form your own. Is Chris Greer in danger of getting fired? You don't believe, some of you guys don't. But then again, if we regroup in, a couple months, you may hear otherwise. Is Frank Smith possibly a coaching candidate for Buffalo? Don't know. But you can see the tea leaves. 2 great wide receivers, big tight end, a halfback, and a great quarterback. What do you need? Well, I think if we had a decent head coach who knew an offense that is pretty dynamic and could work, yeah, I think we could hire Frank Smith to do what Mike McDaniel could do. I don't know if they'd let him go to a division rival, but somebody will. Could you imagine that? And I know a lot of people talk shit about Josh Allen. Could you imagine him in I don't know what you want to call it, a Mike McDaniel offense, a Kyle Shanahan style offense, where they've got Stephon Diggs doing the exact same thing as Tyreek with a tight end, with Josh Allen's arm? You don't think they could be explosive? I do as well. The cap for Miami is going to be horrible as well. Don't work too hard. Getting ready for work. Oh man, Daniel, you're doing a night shift. All right, brother. Well, it's time for the game. I'm going to let you guys go. Thanks for tuning in again. Tell your friends, come on in. I'll make you think tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll make you think. Day after that, I'm going to make you think, and we're going to grow this thing together. And who knows where it goes? I just want to have fun. I love talking to you guys and ladies, and I think we can grow this and just be people, fans, living life. Talk to you soon, as early as tomorrow, and check out some of the videos.